The National Sea Rescue Institute has issued a warning for a full moon spring high tide across the country's coast. The institute expects the tide to peak this afternoon and is warning bathers to be cautious. For more on this, we have the NSRI's Craig Lambinon, and he joins us from Cape Town. Good afternoon to you, Craig, and thank you so much for joining us. So this would be in terms of be it bathers around the coast, and maybe for us to understand what a high tide is and how this is brought about.
Cindy, thank you very much. So there are two high tides and two low tides every day around every coastline in the world. During the full moon and during the new moon, you have a spring high tide and a spring low tide, which is called the spring tide, which happens at new moon and at full moon. Today's full moon spring tide peaks today because today is the full moon, but it's really going to peak between 2 and 3 o'clock this afternoon with the high tide. As the high tide starts to recede between about 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock this afternoon. And the grave concern that we have, there's a lot of people on our beaches at the moment. It's warm weather. Everybody's started the holiday season, and we are urging the public to be especially cautious this afternoon because of that peak of the full moon spring tide, the spring high tide, between 2 and 3 this afternoon, that's going to start to recede to a spring low tide, which goes down to a lower than normal low tide from a higher than normal high tide, and that's going to cause stronger than usual rip currents. So we are really appealing to bathers, especially this afternoon and really for the next few days, to be cautious around our coastline, but especially this afternoon because there's so many people on our beaches. Make sure that you obey the instructions of the lifeguards.